Naomi, for Giving Tuesday, Facebook is matching donations and launching a new community help feature that will make it easier to collect food, clothes, other necessities that people need. How exactly is this going to work?
That's right. Thanks for having me, Emily. As you mentioned, this has been such a difficult year for so many people, and that's why it's so inspiring to see how the community is coming together to help each other. Tomorrow is Giving Tuesday. Facebook will be matching up to $7 million starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And we've seen the community raise over $120 million last Giving Tuesday. And this Giving Tuesday, we're hoping to exceed that.
Aside from the match and the donations, how else can Facebook users give back? There are a number of different features that I know get less of the publicity.
That's right. Donating is only one way to give, donating money. You can also donate your time, your talents, your treasures. That's why we built a feature called Community Help. It lets you ask for and offer help to people in your community. You can donate blood at a nearby blood bank. You can buy gift cards to support local businesses that are really struggling. We also launched a new feature called Drives that lets you easily collect items that are essential, like food, like clothing, and give that to your community. We're seeing a lot of amazing examples of people using community help to run and pick up groceries for their elderly neighbors, or even sew masks and other PPE for local doctors and nurses.
Now, you lead Facebook for Good at a time when Facebook is being attacked from many sides and many people who think Facebook is actually doing the opposite, is a force for things that are not good. How frustrating is it to you that sometimes the good things that I'm sure you feel you're doing are getting overshadowed by a brand that is struggling?
I started the social good team 5 years ago, and I'm still so inspired every single day by what I see people doing on our platform. We're actually seeing donations go up during this really difficult time. People have raised over $100 million for COVID-related fundraisers, and the majority of those donations are coming from people who are donating $25 or less. So it's that kind of thing that I get to see every day that still keeps me inspired and motivated.
Do you think the concerns that Facebook might not always be a force for good are warranted?
Absolutely. There are real legitimate issues here. There are issues around privacy and data use and election and misinformation, but we're doing so much to help people, especially through this global pandemic. We're focused on 3 areas to respond to the COVID crisis. The first is assisting the public health response. The second is helping the economy recover, especially supporting small businesses. And the third is helping people stay connected while we're all socially distanced. On the first, actually, Mark will be going live with Dr. Fauci at 3 p.m. today. They're going to be talking about the newest developments around the vaccine and how we can stay safe this holiday season. On the second thing around helping small businesses, your previous guest talked about how a lot of small businesses are struggling to get foot traffic to their retail stores. We recently launched a new feature called Shops that lets businesses easily set up an online store on Facebook and Instagram. And in terms of the third thing, helping people stay together, I don't know about you, but I use my Facebook portal to have a Thanksgiving dinner with my family that couldn't be there with me in person.
As you mentioned, Mark will be speaking to Dr. Fauci just a few minutes from now. I believe you can tune into that on Facebook Live on Mark's Facebook page. You also helped launch the Coronavirus Information Center on Facebook. And I wonder, as we see cases spike, are you concerned about misinformation about COVID spiking? And what is Facebook planning to do about that?
Yeah, the most important thing that we can do is connect people to authoritative information from these health experts like Dr. Fauci. And that's why we built, to your point, the COVID Information Center. It's the one place you can go to get reliable and up-to-date information about the pandemic. We've actually directed 2 billion people to the COVID Information Center. And the other thing we need to do is stop the spread of misinformation. We are removing any misinformation that has the potential to cause imminent harm, and we're working with health experts to identify those claims that need to be removed.
Now, aside from COVID, Facebook just finished what may be its biggest test yet, and that is getting through a very contentious presidential election, fighting misinformation, inauthentic behavior, meddling from foreign governments. In your view, did Facebook pass the test? How would you assess Facebook's performance over the last few weeks?
One of the things that I am the most proud of is that we ran the largest voter information campaign in American history. The Voter Information Center was inspired by our COVID Information Center. It was the one place people could go to learn how to register, how to vote by mail, vote in person. And this election, we saw record turnout. The percent of eligible voters that actually voted in this election was the highest in over a century. And I'm really proud of that. The other thing that we did is, due to COVID, there was a gap in poll workers, and we worked with state election officials to help over 100,000 poll workers sign up to register and staff this election.
Meantime, the test may not be over, and you have the President of the United States who's continuing to use Facebook to share more misinformation, false claims about fraud and corruption, claims that he won. On one side, Republicans say you're censoring them. On the other side, Democrats say you're not doing enough. On both sides, you're facing antitrust scrutiny. What is Facebook planning for what could be a very messy transition of power? Maybe this election test is still happening right now.
And all of our election levers are still in progress. We have an election operations center that is working 24/7. That continues to do so. A lot of the measures that we put in place for this election will continue until there is more clarity. The Voter Information Center will continue to be updated every single day.
There's no question that Facebook is making tough choices every day. I know you were on the growth team. You were responsible for helping to clean up some inappropriate posts. Sometimes, well-meaning, legitimate businesses. My colleague Sarah Fryer wrote a piece over the weekend. Can get caught up in some of that. I believe some ads from legitimate businesses were taken down. You're now trying to balance the use of AI with human intervention and human moderation at Facebook. As you continue to build the company and fight all of this stuff, how do you intend to manage those trade-offs?
So, I think the answer is both people and technology. We have over 35,000 people working on safety and security. We're also investing billions of dollars in building up-to-date and latest technology to proactively identify a lot of this content. So I think the answer is really going to require both people and technology.
So what's going to be next for, you're in such an interesting place at the company, the head of product and also the head of Facebook for Good, and trying to bridge these two organizations. Where do you want to take the product and continue to be a force for good?
Yeah, and as I mentioned, I did form the social good team, and I'm so excited about what's coming next. In just the past 5 years, the community has raised over $3 billion for nonprofits and personal causes. Over $1 billion of those dollars have come from people donating their birthday to charity. And so what I'm really looking forward to, and on the eve of Giving Tuesday, is helping develop a culture of more generosity. That really is what Giving Tuesday is all about. After Black Friday, after Cyber Monday, as your previous guest was talking about, really using this time to reflect on how we can give back to others and spread generosity around the world.